I've said this a few times before, but periodically on this channel, I'm gonna just repeat this video and say it again. Sometimes we simply forget, when we see something or when we hear something. Um, I see in the fragrance community, we got a great group of people here in the fragrance community. Um, my channel has grown substantially since I've been a part of this community, and I've kind of come in contact with some amazing people and some people with some really nice budgets too. Um, at this point, I tend to buy things that are budget friendly. Um, but even with things that I buy that are budget friendly, I buy a lot of it. So I'm constantly getting fragrances from Making Sense. I'm constantly picking up fragrances from Alt. I'm picking up fragrances from Oil Perfumery. Um, Different brands that are more so affordable. House of Matte Oils, which is a great oil house, excellent house. Picking up cheap peas at the store. This thing is huge, just huge. So I'm constantly picking up new fragrances, and so I'm constantly in front of this screen presenting a new fragrance to you guys. Um, Matter of fact, this is a newer one that I just recently got in the mail as well. With all the fragrances and things like that that I've been getting, I always stress the point of not hiding behind the atomizer. Don't hide behind the atomizer. I have seen some content creators where they're buying. They're doing hauls of fragrances, and the fragrances aren't cheap. And even if they are cheap, don't hide behind those fragrances. Sometimes we're buying all these fragrances because there's a void in our lives. There's something that we are dealing with that's hurtful. So being able to get a fragrance, or oil, a spray, or a solid cologne, and being able to smell something that smells amazing is a form of escape for us. And it's okay to have that. There's a problem when we abuse it. And a lot of us don't recognize when we abuse it in this community, because buying a lot of fragrances sometimes can be looked at as cool. They be like, "Oh man, you got 8 new fragrances. Man, how many do you got? Man, your collection is crazy." So we hear those things, and it doesn't necessarily come off as bad because it may not be. What could possibly lead for it to be harmful is when you got something that you're dealing with here and you're ignoring it. And so what begins to happen is we'll ignore what's happening here, and we'll just spray over it. We'll just spray over it. We got something that we're dealing with right here. And the way we're choosing to deal with it is by hiding behind an atomizer. And there's nothing wrong with having a fragrance, but you don't need to be hiding behind this. A lot of us are dealing with things, and we don't necessarily want to show our face and show what the problem is, so we'll just kind of hide behind the atomizer. We'll try to fill the room with this scent, fill the room with whatever, so that we don't really have to think about what we're dealing with. But the truth is, it is not healthy for us to do that. I admit there are way worse things that we could be involved in, that we could be in, getting ourselves into. It could be way worse. It could not be a fragrance. It could be a drug addiction. You know what I mean? It could be something far worse. So I'm grateful that our our vice is fragrance. But it's important that we don't try to fill voids with fragrance. We got a void in our life, and we're trying to decant and fill it with a fragrance. Trying to decant a void, and we can't do that. Gotta be able to heal. It's important for us to take the time. It's important for us to take the proper amount of time and the proper steps to heal. So that way we're not hiding behind the fragrance. And I see that a lot in this community. And I don't know people's situations. So that's not my job to know their situation. But when I see it, that's what I think of. Think of us and we're dealing with things, but we hear the comments, we're reading the comments, and we're hearing the praise about how good our collections look, how big our collection is, and we're doing the lives and we're talking with with different people, different companies, and you know all of it can be rewarding in its own way, but distracting depending on what's going on. Depending on what's going on in our real lives. So I said all that to say that the next time you're looking to pick up a fragrance that, to be honest, we really don't need, but we like it, so we want it. Next time you're picking up that fragrance, or you're getting ready to make that purchase for that fragrance haul, just ask yourself, am I okay? You know, what am I dealing with? If you figure out that you're not dealing with anything and that you're not trying to hide anything, that you're allowing yourself to heal, that you are encouraging yourself, that you're building yourself up, you're finding time to encourage somebody else. If you realize that you're not perfect, you're finding yourself in a good place. Go ahead. Go ahead. Make that purchase. Have fun with your fragrance. I just want to make sure that you're not trying to cover anything up with that purchase. That's all. Have a good one, guys.